Howdy there, sickos, freaks, and super creeps. If it's not just, oh my god, your favorite girl in the world, reporting for the very last time from this setup. Hope you guys didn't get too attached to it because, yeah, she's moving again. Again! But it's okay. It's okay because I've already signed a lease, I've already found a new place, so it's fine. I'm not stressed at all. It's okay. We shall see what the official viewing setup for the Vampire Lestat looks like, which is a shame. This is a pretty great backdrop. The unfortunate part is that I am in a basement, so we gotta change that, guys. It's good. It's good. That's why it took me so long to make this video, because I've been, you know, trying to find a place to live. But anyways, we're not here to talk about the habitations of Autumn Bottom Brown. We are here to talk about the title sequence that they just dropped on us. Like the apple falling from the tree onto Newton's head to create so many wonderful scientific explorations and new ways of looking at the world. And similarly, I think that's what this has done for me and for the rest of us out there. Because guys, there's plenty of lovely swirling messages within this title sequence for us to comb through like a very dense-toothed brush and just work our way through some of these little nuts. All right. I did technically record a reaction. I don't think it's that good because they did drop this at midnight, at which point my roommate was already asleep. And I was trying not to wake her up. So I just kind of spin the whole thing with my pillow over my face. I don't know how entertaining that is. But I'll roll the footage here. It's not that long. Oh my god. Slut. Or bitch. Cunt. Oh. Serve. Work. Oh. Oh. I'm the best in the future, the last of the sutures, the cool and dead. Where the rock and roll is. Where the time. Where the heart of me love in the face of the mud. Where this stupid rhyme. Bang, bang. Yeah. Shut up. Bang, bang. Oh, the water. The water. Oh god, I can't. We go fire. This isn't gonna work for me. I need an outlet. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna puke. I'm already, you can feel my small intestines jamming up. I'm constipated with emotion. It's just so like punk rock band, cutesy, girly, fun, dark, emo, color, saturation, blood, gore, horror, trauma, all of the things that I want, you know, for a good Friday night outing. And there are all these words flashing on the screen that I can't read. This isn't working. I gotta do this on my computer. Adult demented cocoa melon. This is for me. Who's getting tattoos? Who's getting tattoos? When are we doing it, guys? No. No. Because I got off work. It's too much. I'm supposed to go to bed now. F you. F you. I gotta look at the computer. Nothing's gonna change until I look at the computer. But I don't think this is as conducive for reaction fodder as it is for a nice kind of analysis and breakdown. So that's the focus of this video today. Let me get my notes on my phone here. Oops. on my flipping phone here. It's so unprofessional. They're gonna fire me. You guys are gonna fire me. And the job hasn't even started yet. Oh no. Anyways, All Fall Down, aka Bang Bang.
Go Bang.
Finally out on Spotify. Short song. I didn't realize that what we got from the trailer was like the total of the song. But it's also our title sequence song. We have a title sequence song. Obviously, very different to the title sequence for the first 2 seasons. The first 2 seasons, it's restrained, it's refined, it's reflective. You know, it's the orchestra warming up. We see what we're approaching, the skyline, off in the distance. Louis' psyche, Louis' story, hidden beneath, beyond. That's the word. It feels Louis. This, on the other hand, is like
6, 5,
a nitrous
4,
MDMA fueled
1.
rocket launching into like the world's messiest, dirtiest lagoon. It feels like we're swirling around Lestat's psyche. I love it. God darn, do I love it. There's messages scratched onto the different frames for like subliminal messaging. There's doodles drawn on people's faces. It feels like an angsty teenage girl's diary. Hey, Claudia. Or like a scrapbook of sorts, chronicling all, like, not just where Lestat is going and his physical journey, but also the mental, emotional journey that he's going on. And it's just too much and not enough. It piques your interest just enough. It's like when you go to the aquarium and they have those little portholes with the curtain over it. And, you know, to see the deep sea creatures and everything like that. Well, not deep sea creatures. It sounds like they've got squids in there. I don't know. If you guys know of an aquarium that has a squid, let me know, because I want to see a squid. Anyways, the whole point is you pull back the curtain to where you're in darkness and they have black lights and you can see them floating around. But the fact that it's just them and this wilderness of black, it really makes you wonder what else is out there. And that's kind of what this title sequence does for the rest of this show. A little peek into what we're about to see. So let's get into the actual title sequence itself. Awful. By the way, is this just because I grew up in the South where we're deeply religious about Jesus and SEC football? But All Fall Down, the beginning, does it not remind you of the Hey song that they sing at football games? You know, like... Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You're a football crowd. Yeah. The Venn diagram of the Interview with a Vampire Lestat fans and football watching audience, not a Venn diagram, it's a circle. We're a very sporty bunch, aren't we? Oh my god, the Vampire Lestat halftime show. It's happening, right? I'm sure that's a very commonly used beat within rock and roll and music in general, so I just associate it with football. And then once we get into the orchestration, like the guitar comes in, it's completely different, but still every time I hear it, every time it comes up on my Spotify, I'm like, wait a minute, am I about to throw a pigskin? Anyways, starting off, we open on Wild Berry Pop-Tarts. Anyone else see it? Just me? Okay. Cute little vampire face. Squiggles and scratches all over the frame. Replicating a camera's crosshairs. Or a rifle's. Wolf killer. And the monitor outline for a camera for this documentary. Road signs, sepia-tinted road signs looking out the view of the tour bus, the glare from the windows on the screen. We see I-205 South to West Regret and Death. And honey, if that's just not the route we all take when we partake in capitalism, then I don't know what is. We're on a downward spiral to authoritarianism and autocracy. What are we gonna do? Scrawled on the screen in the right-hand corner, we have sex And then we have what I believe to be death.
I'm looking at this again now. I don't have a goddamn clue what this says. This kind of like maybe a D, E, maybe an A. And this looks like maybe a T over here. So that's what I was kind of thinking maybe. This, it looks like a D, R. What is this? I thought maybe death still because this kind of looks like an E, but with an A. Also, TH. I just can't figure out DRETH. Dreth? That's not a word. This is not a letter. I don't know. Whatever.
Obviously, sex is like inherent to a rock and roller's lifestyle. We know that Lestat's going to be getting into all sorts of messy, sexy situations. But also, I think he uses his good looks, his charm, his sexuality to, endear himself to people, to get himself places, to seek pleasure. I mean, that's what Lestat is all about. Do what thou willst, May that be the end of the law. Enjoying the life that you have is like of the utmost importance. However, the question is how to enjoy that life when you are tormented by so much horror. Can one enjoy that life? But then also how then, obviously, with like his mom and Magnus and maybe other situations in his life, that's been twisted and turned and used against him. And the sex has been exploited.
Not just exploited, but forming the foundations of his own ideas of sex and love. Obviously, we don't know how explicit him and Gabriella's relationship is going to be, but going off of what we saw in the San Diego trailer, and then some little hints later on in this title sequence, it's explicit, to a degree at least. When that starts, not sure. However, I mean, having a parent, a mother, whose attention and love you strive for and don't feel you receive until eventually the time when you feel seen and wanted by them is in a sexual encounter. That's going to completely alter how you view desire and love and sex with everybody else. If I want to be wanted, if I want to be loved, this is how I achieve that.
And then also too with what we saw in season 1, when his needs are not being fulfilled, he doesn't feel loved. And it's kind of this idea of that a lot of people conflate sex to love, and maybe that's not the case, but definitely using that as a means to try to fill that need to be loved by others that's not being fulfilled by the love of oneself. Which I think is just so fascinating. And then, of course, death. Death is the vampire's calling card. Through death, they have life. How does life come about? Sex. Sex, death. It's all a circle. Sex is death. Death is sex. What? Stay tuned, guys. This is how the rest of the video is gonna go. But also the road sign specifically, I-205 South. Now that is an auxiliary highway in the Portland metropolitan area of Oregon and Washington, which we know from the tour date shirt that was released. Tour starts off in Seattle, then Olympia, then Portland, then Corvallis. Corvallis? I don't know how to... I'm sticking with Corvallis. So we're starting this title sequence off where the tour starts off. I'm curious if they're going to have the road signs switch out with each episode, kind of similarly how in season 1 and season 2, the skylines, if they were in Paris or San Francisco or New Orleans or Eastern Europe, the skylines would change. I'm curious if they're going to maybe like do a similar thing with the road signs where the road signs change based on where they're going to be headed this episode. But I mean, even if not, I still think that it's still reflective of what this season is going to look like, because this is our starting point, where the tour starts. And then as the title sequence goes along, it like twists and turns from like the view of the tour bus to getting much more internal with Lestat, where when we end. We'll get there. We'll get to the end when we get to the end. But guys, can I put on a tinfoil hat really quickly? Do I have? No. Okay. Tinfoil hat time. I'm going to start connecting dots that do not exist. Okay, you guys want me to paint a picture? I'm going to make you a mosaic. Because in my research, I-205 east to west also is an auxiliary highway outside of the San Francisco Bay Area to Tracy, California. And along the way is Altamont, home to Altamont Speedway, home to the Altamont Speedway what is it called? The Rock and Roll Free Concert? Yeah, Altamont Speedway Free Festival of 1969, which was a festival that went down in infamy for the violence, the damage, and the deaths that occurred there, that ultimately kind of signified the end of the free love, hippie, psychedelic rock movement. That was kind of at least one of the tipping points that culturally showed a big shift into the more kind of excessive, cocaine-driven, disillusioned rock and roll of the 1970s, and also disco and everything. Like, it's very complicated. There's a lot of other things going on there. Anyways, why I bring that up is because I've always maintained, and maybe I read this somewhere, but I've always considered this concert to be an inspiration point for Anne's writing the Vampire Lestat concert, another concert that ends ultimately in cataclysmic disaster and death and an overturning and shifting of where the world is, you know? Feel like I read that somewhere, that is a true statement, that Anne was inspired by that. But even if it's not out there, it's true. I feel it. I can feel it in my bones.
Couldn't find a damn bit of evidence to back up these claims. But as many politicians have once said, who needs evidence when you have a vibe?
Burning film, puncture wounds on the screen, go to new road signs, which are Interstate 680, exit 58A. It's just to Benicia and Vallejo. I didn't find anything interesting about that, but maybe someone else out there did. But it's what's on the road signs that are of more import to me. On the left-hand side, we've got Cold Hand of Fate and Midnight Abortion. Midnight Abortion immediately makes me think of a certain character who's been mysteriously introduced earlier than she appears within the book series. That character is Miss Baby Jenks. Now, within book canon, Baby Jenks is turned when she's having a midnight or at least nighttime abortion, and she's bleeding out, about to die, when who comes to turn her other than Killer, the leader of the Fang Gang? Turns her into a vampire. She joins the Fang Gang. Off they go. She gets separated to, kill mom and dad and then meet up with them to go to the concert later. It's fun. She has a goofy, girly little story arc. So as I said, she doesn't appear within the book canon until Queen of the Damned. So her being introduced in the Vampire Lestat has been really interesting to me, especially considering her character is important enough to get a casting announcement at San Diego Comic-Con on Instagram and all that. So obviously she's been credited as a groupie in her very minimal character description, but clearly she's going to be more than a groupie, because I don't see why you would take a named character and just simply have her be in the background as just another groupie. She's going to mean a little bit more to the story. Not saying she's going to be a major player, but I think her character is going to serve a much larger purpose than any of us might have ever figured. What could that purpose be? Now, this is based on absolutely nothing other than the voices in my head and what I would do if I had a character who I was introducing early on, who within the books is turned by the same guy who assaulted and kidnapped, raped and kidnapped my lead character's daughter. We clearly see that Lestat kind of takes a shine to her in the San Diego Comic-Con trailer, which I know that not everyone got to see, but I recreated it fully with my drawings, and that's the only version anyone ever saw, unless you were there, which you saw the real version, because there's no other version that exists out there. No one ever watched any other version. But Lestat and baby Jenks are hanging out backstage, zonked out of their minds, just like seeing Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. We also saw from the New York Comic-Con trailer him bringing her on stage, going for the throat, yada, yada, yada. So clearly he takes the shine to her. I'm thinking if I want to raise the stakes to the highest possible way that I can, that was a wordy sentence, I would have my main character develop a connection with this bright new young thing, maybe a sort of paternal-ish connection. She's young, she's blonde, she's white. Maybe she reminds him of him when he was younger, sneaking out to go see the, acting troupe in the traveling circus. Starts to form a connection to her so that when she is turned later on, as I said, by the same guy who horribly assaulted his own daughter, that's gonna hit even worse, right? Double punch when he comes back, right? And then further, I think that it could also bring about more guilt, because we know that he's going to be haunted by his muses from the past, one of those being Claudia. So I think it could play into the guilt that he feels towards letting her down as a father and everything, for her to come back and be like, oh, who's this? Who are you kind of warding over now? She's cute. Is that the daughter you would have chosen? Not me. I'm not the one you would have chosen, but maybe this one is. Interesting. Okay. And just further deepening the guilt, I think the goal of this season is going to just drive Lestat down to the deepest possible depths of the ocean that he can possibly go to. That could all just be shit that I'm pulling directly out of my ass and throwing onto the camera instead of in the toilet. And for that, I'm sorry if that's the case. Maybe, they just hang out for a little bit, and then later on she pops up again when Louis and Lestat go to confront Bruce now that he's back in town, because we know that he's coming back. And it's like, oh shit, what are you doing here? Why are you with him? Who knows?
Also, this is all just going off of the assumption that baby Jenks is going to be turned into a vampire in the show, and that she's going to be turned into a vampire by Killer, and that Killer from the books is Bruce from the show, which I think so, just because, Claudia nicknames him Killer in season 1, episode 5, and he makes mention of the Fang Gang, which, as I said, is the name of their little crew in the books. They could change all of that. None of that could happen. So, none of this is set in stone. Just saying. Forgot to mention the whole impetus for me coming up with this convoluted hypothesis was when they announced Ella Valentine's casting on Instagram. It came with the quote, "You are the only goddamn dead guy I've got now." That tells me 2 things. 1, she had other dead guys that she was hanging around that are no more, which, once again, we know there's some confrontation between Louis and Bruce. I think Lestat is tagging along for that. So, I'm guessing that and the Fang Gang were the other dead guys she was hanging around, but who knows? Number 2, what it tells me, that's not like cutesy, let's get it on. That's, well, you're all I've got left now, so take me under your wing. Like I gotta lean on you. I'm just saying.
But all of that to say, that's where I think Midnight Abortion comes from. We also have the glimpse later on in the title sequence of the legs all bloodied in the bathtub. To me, that screams Midnight Abortion, abortion gone wrong, bleeding out. But, what do I know? I just sit here and gab, 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 gab. Oh my God. Wait a second. I just remembered. Farid is a part of this season. Farid is coming back, which is another character. There's so many characters in this season that I'm just like, and what are you doing here? Why are you here? Oh, okay. But, okay, walk with me now. Put your hand in mine and just walk with me on our way to the asylum. In the books, Farid doesn't pop up till the final trilogy. And in Blood Communion, he's a scientist. He's a vampire scientist, the first vampire scientist. So he wants to know about like the biology and understand how vampirism came about. So he's like looking into the cellular structure of vampires. And there's this plot point in Blood Communion where he figures out how to reactivate a vampire's reproductive organs. So Lestat sleeps with the human woman and she carries the child to term. It's a human child. It's not like a human vampire half-breed. It's just a human child. And so, yeah, Lestat has a son. And it never really comes up again, that science. Which there's a lot going on in that final trilogy, so I don't blame her for not following up too much on it. But it's an interesting thing to insert in there. So, like, midnight abortion, Farid here, Lestat. Oh my god. Farid holds the key to impreg. Only he can unlock it. So like, what if the midnight abortion is a Lestat baby? I have had too much time in between seasons. And then, scrawled on the screen, we have on that midnight train. On that midnight train? Huh. That sounds familiar. Almost like a song.
And he's leaving on that midnight train to Georgia. Oh, I'm sorry. The song about a man leaving his ambitions to become a star in LA to return home to Georgia to pursue a simpler life. And his paramour, who is singularly devoted to him and will follow him wherever he goes because, well, it's a she in the song, but just like, again, walk with me here. But she follows her love because, well, she'd rather live in his world than live without him in hers. Do we think maybe this is where ultimately Lestat's story goes? Oh, I said he's leaving on that midnight train to Georgia.
I don't know. I'm just saying. You know, I think eventually this might be where we're headed. Maybe it'll be a midnight train to New Orleans. We got Lost Opportunity with The Lost Circle. Lost Opportunity, Lost Souls, Lost. The hit 2005 ABC show, now streaming on Hulu. And Sweet Relief, underlined and then scrawled on the screen, almost says emphasis on Sweet Relief. Now, is Sweet Relief sex or is Sweet Relief death? Because we did see in the New York Comic-Con trailer, that little glimpse, it's like 2 frames of Lestat screaming into a microphone, fully covered except for his face burning in the sun. And I don't know if it was Rollin or Sam who was talking about the extremes that Lestat goes to this season to just try to figure out who he is, what he wants, what he needs. Is seeking like the bigger and bigger high, whether that's, drugs, whether that's sex, whether that's performing, whether that's killing himself or trying to. We have precedents within the books of Lestat. He has this attempt, spoiler alert, where he does kind of try to kill himself, but ultimately, like, once it doesn't work, he's like, well, I kind of secretly always knew that I couldn't really die. But it's that back and forth of where is he just trying to like feel something? That's just another intrigue point for me. It's like, okay, is he trying to do something big, bold, and daring, or is he really maybe gonna try to give all of it up? It's a sweet relief. Which one is it? Or is it both? Who knows? We got this view of the tour bus driving through the Pacific Northwest. Oh, lovely, lovely. Cut to guitar with these cute little frowny face, vampire face. I think it's probably a vampire face. Those are probably fangs. I just love all the little faces drawn on there. This feels like Lestat's burn book, you know? And then directly after that, there's a frame where the text, "The music plays on," is scrawled on screen. Once again, perhaps another reference to another song by Del Shannon featuring the lyrics, "Sitting here alone at a sky without a sun." Hello. Another busy signal, as I call the one I love. Arms ache, they keep reaching out, things that should be there. She told me when I left, she told me she'd always care. 2 days I've been waiting to talk to her again. It must be a broken line, or she's talking to a friend. Because I swear, I heard her say, "If you need me, baby, I'll be there." And the music plays on and on and on, and the music plays on and on. Our love was strong, it was strong when the music played on and on. Now, is this about a love that's not answering the call? A lost love? A past love? And the desire to rekindle it, but feeling like that desire is not present there on the other end? Or is it simply the sentiment of the music plays on? You know, no matter what happens, whether you're angry or sad or screaming and banging your fists against the walls or burying yourself on the dirt, or you're jubilant and you're jumping across stage, the music will play on. Life goes on. And for a vampire, life does indeed go on and on and on and on. The horrors, they may persist, but so will you. The music plays on. Cut to. Yes! 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 Oh my God. Gorgeous, beautiful, lollipop, angel, Snapchat filter to the gods. This is my violet, demented Barbie demon pop queen princess. Look at that. Oh. I mean, we have more phone backgrounds than we've ever received in our life. Just in this, 2 seconds, we're melting from one sultry gaze to another, to another, to another. We're burning the film with the heat of Lestat's gaze at the camera. It's just so fun. It's so overboard. He's a pretty princess. He's a clown. He's a graphic hero novel. Wait. I said that wrong. Graphic novel hero. And I love that they're playing around with the whole blue, violet, gray eyes from the books with all these shots of him with purple eyes and the drawn on purple eyes here. This is my Dr. T.J. Eckelberg, honestly. My God's eyes are not blue staring down at me from a billboard. They are purple staring down at me from my computer screen. And they're giving me the green light, baby. They say, go, go, go! We have another little glimpse of text on the screen. First and last. First and last what? Vampire Rockstar? First and last vampire? First and last. The Alpha and Omega. The beginning and the end. This is my Yahweh. He says it in that little clip that they had.
I am the Vampire Lestat. I am a god.
I love an egotistical, toxic man. Oh, I love him. Oh, I love him. That's why we stay away from him, though. That's why we stay off Hinge. Could it be reference to I'm the past and the future, the last of the sutures, the coup and dove? Maybe. I don't know. Ugh, all the X's over the eyes. Dead little guys. Dead little guys. And you know who did that 2 months ago? Put X's over Lestat. Bam! I'm always there. I'm always on the wavelength. All right. I've intercepted the radio tower, and I'm getting all their secret little codes. Okay? Ha! X's over the eyes. More importantly, X's over the nipples. We have to have some decency, okay? Although, to be honest, I doubt it's for decency. Knowing Lestat, it's probably because putting X's over them then draws your eyes to them. That was probably the goal, right? Yeah, that was definitely the goal. Oh no, my nipples? Please, don't look at them. I just couldn't bear it. Right? But in the next frame, again, I said this is like his burn book, truly. Because we got a little fuck Lestat in the corner here. Or at least, I'm pretty sure that's what it says. I think there's, the hashtag pound symbol in place of the U because they can't have the F word in their title sequence. But this says fuck Lestat. And it's just so fun to think of him as Regina George sitting on his carpet, scrawling that onto a picture of himself. Oh my God. This killed the dinosaurs. And I'm not going to elaborate any further on that. Seriously, can you imagine what would happen if a caveman saw this? It ceased to exist. They would explode. They would spontaneously combust. Humans would not be the same. We would be descendants of Neanderthals or whatever early humanoid species there were, but we would not be who we are today. Okay, the primitive mind cannot comprehend the power of Lestat. Honestly, the modern mind can't either. What are we talking about? He could still kill us all. Ooh, Sparkle Dove Girly with the gray eyes this time. Oh, we have fun, don't we? Silver eyes to match the silver tongue. Ain't that right, Claudia? Father of lies. Father of lies! Vampire Lestat coloring book when? Is that in the merch lineup? Because if it's not, what are we doing? All right. Now this one, I gotta take a walk. For this one. This girl right here, yeah, she drinks cherry syrup and MDMA for breakfast, okay? You don't drink MDMA, but she pops them like little Tic Tacs, all right? You shouldn't do that, but she does it. Don't ask me how I know it, I just know, okay? She doesn't have any side view mirrors on her car. They're both broken off. What happened to them? However, she can still parallel park like a goddamn magician. How does that make sense? How does she do it? But she fits it every time. It's perfect. It's magical. This girl, you think about her every single day of your life. You're in love with her. You can't stop thinking about her. She doesn't even remember meeting you. She doesn't know who you are. Don't you ever talk to me or my demented girlfriend ever again, okay? Forget about killing the dinosaurs. I think if saw this, he would die. So, if anyone is out there and could just sneak a little screenshot to the prez, that would be so great. Just take one for the team, okay? I want this show to blow up, obviously, because I want it to have the biggest budget ever, and I want it to get all the accolades that it rightfully deserves. But also, I just think it would be so fun to see all the horrible, hateful things that the Westboro Baptist Church would have to say about it. Let's get into a fist fight. Let's throw eggs at the Westboro Baptist Church. I've been saying this. I've been saying this for how many years now? And it continues to be true. Sacred Heart, who? Huh? What? We got the Toronto Space Needle featured twice already. Honestly, I hope Toronto gave them one hell of a tax credit. I sure hope they did, because, honey, this is going to be a new vampire mecca for these girls and boys and theys out there, okay? With this vampire kabuki-looking theater mask, huh? With vampire theater mask. Where does that sound familiar? Vampire theater. Interesting. Yeah, it's just, I can't think of it at the moment. Huh.
Ooh, girl, I cannot wait. Because obviously, we got a condensed history, Armand's condensed history, of the formation of the Théâtre de Vampire, perfect French accent, wherein Lestat was a vampire performing for humans on stage when Armand discovered him, and it was his idea to create the theater, not Nicky's as it is in the book, and Lestat is this playboy who woos Armand to steal his vampire secrets and then bounce, just like he left Nicky, he leaves Armand, and he left Louis, all of that. I keep going back and forth on how much of the theater we will see, but we definitely have to see some of it because it's so crucial to his relationship, not only with Armand, but of course with Nicky as well. And those are two very riveting relationships that I can't wait to see explored. Armand, he says that they fucked. Your Honor, my jury here cannot reach an informed verdict if we do not see the evidence. So if that did in fact happen, I do need to see it. It's just for the sake of my jury. I am so curious, given that context, and Armand being like, yeah, Lestat just like left. If they are going to include some version of the scene where Armand approaches Lestat and Gabrielle in the books and is begging them to let him come with them on their travels. He's like, I know that you're not going to stick around in Paris. I can't stay here. Like, you've destroyed my whole coven, my whole lifestyle, my whole belief system. Let you be my new belief system. Let me follow you. And Lestat tells him no. Is that going to be in there? Because it's obviously really crucial for Armand to be crushed to this point and not allowed to join. But it's also really crucial for Lestat because Armand looks at him and is like, you know that she's going to leave you, right? And it rattles Lestat. And, you know, Gabrielle's like, no, I won't do that. And Armand says, yeah, you will. And when it does eventually happen, it just goes to prove Armand was right, and he does have this wisdom, and he does have all of these years of experience over Lestat that he doesn't have. Armand does have something to offer, and it's this just kind of their whole relationship, I despise you, I don't even think about you, I love you, I hate you, please let me come with you, please let me have your blood. Oh my god, that nasty fugly slut, I don't know her. But it's the relationship between Lestat and Nikki that I'm really looking forward to seeing explored insofar as the past relationships goes. Because I think Nikki is the most heartbreaking character in the whole series. I mean, Claudia, obviously, but at least with Claudia, I think in her own story would be the heroine. Like, if only there weren't these other coven of vampires conspiring against her and just had anyone standing up for her, she could have made it out, and like she had the fight and the will and could have continued on. Whereas with Nikki, he's just doomed from the start. Like, there was never, I don't know, it doesn't seem like there was ever going to be a positive path out for him. Like, if things went a different way, whether he was turned into a vampire or not, it still would have all ended in madness and frustration and disappointment and suffering, which I think is, well, I don't want to do like tragedy Olympics, but it's just harrowing. And watching that relationship devolve, because at least with everybody else, again, except for Claudia, who's like fucked up relationships with each other within the Vampire Chronicles at large, generally everybody finally does get to have a moment to reconcile and maybe rectify some of the mistakes they made in the past. But with Nikki, he never gets that opportunity. It's just this specter kind of hanging over his life. And you can see within the show, when he talks about it, like, you know, mentions his name in season 1, and even within season 2, when he's on trial, you can see the guilt that like hangs over him to this day from it all. And of course, we know that Nikki is going to be one of Lestat's muses going forward in this season to pop up and say, hey babe, remember me? Time to terrorize a little bit. And I know I've said over and over again ad nauseum that I can't wait to see how far down Lestat can be punched into the ground. But I think the reason why is kind of the same reason why people watch the Olympics or an Ironman race, or, you know, go and cheer on people doing a marathon or American Ninja Warrior. But he's somebody who can take so much shit and not just find the will to endure it all, but will actually put on the boxing gloves, step into the ring, and fight back and fight through it. It's like watching Rocky IV. Rocky just get pummeled and pummeled. I think it's Rocky IV. Or is it Rocky 1? I think it's the same setup every time. Rocky gets the shit beat out of him. And you think, oh my God, there's absolutely no way he can rise out of this. But it's all just to wear out his opponent. And he comes back up and he lays that punch. And I don't necessarily think Lestat's going to lay that punch and come out on top. But it is that marvel of watching, an athlete of trauma fight back that is so admirable about him. He doesn't take anything lying down. Well, he takes one thing lying down.
Next shot, we have Lestat on stage and this fire in the crowd. And is this foreshadowing? It's got to be foreshadowing, right? Spoiler alert, guys. Bang, bang. The crowd goes bang, bang. All right. There's a lot of bang, bang happening. All right. Not just sexually, but also combustually at the end of this, when Mama Akasha comes onto the scene. She's setting these bitches on fire. Okay. She wakes up and she says, honey, it's been a hell of a long time since I've had some good barbecue. Let's get it searing. I also really appreciate that the camera, it's kind of like this ongoing, continual push forward into each new layer, each new reveal. So we're pushing forward. We go into, sorry, the caffeine's getting to me, into the tour bus. This tacky, gorgeous cheetah print carpet with the custom leather mid-century modern benches, this keyboard soundboard thing that's got to be thousands upon thousands of dollars, the neon of the naked lady in the back. Like, this is so trashy, kitschy, Las Vegas chic. I want to be on there. Guys, how much money would AMC make if they just set up the tour bus and let us run through, have a little photo op for like 2 minutes per person? They could be making so much money. They could be making so much money. I just want to go inside. I want to see it. Moving forward to the girl recording Lestat on her phone in the crowd. X's over the nipples, of course. I'm very interested. So obviously the timelines are much different to the books from the get-go. But in the books, this was happening in the 80s. Now it's happening in 2025. And Rollin has stated that the current events of 2025 and everything that's going on within the world and our country is going to, at least in some part, play into what's happening here. I mean, from the very first episode, the very introductory scenes, we had COVID. It's kind of funny to think about, but Interview with the Vampire is a COVID show. So they've always been incorporating elements of our real life into the show. And I'm curious how the audience is going to interact with Lestat and how they're going to perceive him. They released that little clip, AMC did, or the Immortal Universe released a little clip of the band from the documentary and everything, where Salamander's like,
Lestat's a real vampire, and we're probably all gonna die.
So obviously the band knows and thinks that he is a real vampire, because it's a big part of the books where Lestat is trying to convince the humans and the people, no, I really am a vampire, and like floating on stage and the blood tears, and everyone's just like, wow, the stage effects are incredible. And it's all about like how people just simply will not believe something that is so far out of the realm of possibility, and how science and reason kind of get in the way of people accepting something that might be beyond science and reason. So I'm curious if if this will be a part of the show with people, spreading videos or taking photos. We obviously see him floating on stage and him biting people on stage and everything. If people are just going to be like, wow, again, great stage effects. Or some people might be like, no, I think he's really a vampire. And everyone's going to, on the internet, be like, AI, that's deep fake, photoshopped, or like whatever. Because it's such a fascinating part of our life now that we're having to deal with, where very real events are happening before our eyes. And it's incredible how many comment sections you go to and people are just saying, AI, that's fake, it's AI. And you're like, no, ICE agents really did kill this civilian woman. And it's not like doctored footage, that's real footage. Like how that'll play into with him being a vampire, if it does at all. Again, I'm just curious if people are actually going to buy into him being a vampire, because obviously some humans are aware of the existence of vampires because we have the farm. But outside of that, I'm curious how much they're going to have vampires as a whole be a believable and real presence, or if it's going to be like in the books where it is only very select people in the world who actually think that this is real. And then going back to, you know, what I kind of mentioned earlier with that one shot of Lestat out in the sun, I'm curious if that's almost going to be pushed because of, you know, people online or people not believing that he is a vampire, and him wanting to prove himself more and more and more until eventually he's like, you know what, then fine. And performs out in the sun, burning his face like a fucking potato chip on Venus, and it's like, how can I like make this up? You know, this is real.
I just think that we're at a very interesting point in time where real footage, real events get dismissed as AI and deepfakes. But then, on the flip side, AI slop and deepfakes get passed around like God's honest gospel. We don't believe what is real. We do believe what is not real. So I think there's opportunity, if they so choose to pursue it, there with perception. It kind of ties all into like POV and perception and who's telling the story. If they so wish to explore that. There's a lot they gotta get through though, so I won't be mad if they don't brush on that, but still.
Especially considering, I think in that clip, I need to watch it again, but, you know, they say it's so nice having a famous guy like heading up this tour in reference to Daniel and not in reference to Lestat.
It sure is helpful having a famous guy lead your band, so shout outs to Daniel Malloy.
For making our lives
a lot easier.
and sometimes a lot more unsafe.
Well, yeah.
And this is something that I've been thinking about a lot too, of like, so obviously the book is out there. We have that little hint of this within the book, The Vampire Lestat, where the band is like, when Lestat introduces himself to Satan's Night Out and he introduces himself as Lestat, they're like, oh, haha, like in the book. And they think that he's, you know, just being funny, and he's taken inspiration from the book and created this character based on the book. And he's like, no, that's fucking me. That's me. By and large, people are going to think that this is all, especially since Daniel is heading up the documentary. If people think that this is just part of Daniel's growing almost cinematic universe where he's written this book and now he's making this documentary that I'm sure most people might think is maybe a mockumentary. I'm just thinking, if I'm living in this world and this guy publishes this fiction book and then starts making this documentary, it's going to be kind of like a This Is Spinal Tap type of situation, crafting this whole character and this whole persona to go on this tour and everything. So I'm curious what Lestat's going to think of that, how he's going to internalize all of that and be like, no, this is me. This has nothing to do with Daniel. I brought Daniel on.
I don't know, just like the idea of Daniel being the famous guy within this collection of people, and Daniel bringing notoriety to the band versus Lestat. I don't think that's going to do great things for his ego. So I'm curious how he's going to lash out because of that.
But who knows? Who knows? All wild conjecture. Anyways, moving on. Flash of red coming from his mouth. Blood vomit. Just blood and period. Whatever. I don't care. We love to see it. Blood, 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 blood. Give me more blood. Cursed Diva Cup. Am I right? Have you guys seen the movie Teeth? Next shot. Oh, rushing in. What was that? Oh my God. Jennifer Coolidge possessed me for a second. Did you hear that? We're rushing into this. Nope. I lost it. Rushing in to this dining hall table. Very gothic, classic vampire aesthetic to it. So I have two minds in regards to this. One is because I'm sure Lestat is going to make some music videos and everything, right? So I'm curious if this is just part of one of his sets, leaning into the classic vampire, the visual aesthetic for vampires, or if this is maybe a real location from his past. As I said, it's very ornate, very elegant, very gothic, too ornate for it to be the Lion Court Manor. I almost kind of wonder, perhaps, could it be Magnus's lair? I kind of feel like it's too ornate. I always got the impression Magnus's lair would be more run down. It could be a mixture of both, where in showing his past, but he's amping it up and giving it more of a classic vampiric aesthetic. But we have these paintings on the wall. We have this one of this lady with her head kind of thrown back in the throes of pleasure or pain, perhaps being bitten by a vampire. We have this other lady against the far wall, and then this little boy to the left-hand side of the door that we'll get into a little bit more. But I think perhaps young Lestat. So I'm curious if this is so stylized that I feel like this is probably like some sort of set or something for Lestat's stage show or music videos or whatever. I mean, we've got all the candelabras everywhere, the goblets filled with red wine or blood. It's very dark. We got the goat head, classic symbol of, devil imagery, but it's the portraits on the wall. Like I said, this portrait of the little boy that kind of makes me think maybe it's a melding of like his actual past versus the portrayed past that he's going for. Because I can't remember if it was Hannah at New York Comic Con or Rollin at some point who said that Lestat is trying to kind of project this image of himself, and the idea is very much like the past is launching itself after him. It's like a predator and he's prey coming to vomit itself upon his consciousness and refuses to die down, which is really fascinating. But we travel ever further into this corridor to the black opening where Lestat stands like a shirtless prophet, beckoning us forward deeper into his domain, deeper inside himself. Come in, my child. Explore me. Hello. Blue eyes. This feels very MySpace to me. I mean, they've talked about this in interviews and everything, trying not to borrow too much from any one period in time or any one musical artist or any one musical genre, to really mesh together things from all across history and all across time so that it feels very much like Lestat versus Lestat impersonating David Bowie, or Lestat impersonating Jim Morrison, or Lestat impersonating Iggy Pop. And there's a lot more like late 90s, 2000s influence present within this title sequence that I wasn't expecting. And yet it all still feels very modern at the same time. I don't know. I think that so far from what I've seen, I like this hodgepodge of inspiration. It's really just tickling my little brain. But we go from Lestat's eye to a bloodied hand on the floor. Bloodied hands. Oh gosh. I hope nothing bad happens to anyone's hands in this season. Oh, that would be horrible. Boom! Cut to father of the documentary, Daniel Malloy! New, fresh vampire with the vampire fangs scrawled on. Daniel Malloy! I mean, I've stated over and over again, I can't wait to see how they really demolish Lestat this season, but that's true for everybody. Obviously, Louis's got a big storm coming. But Daniel, I've not talked enough about Daniel and what it means for him now to be a vampire, but lived pretty much his entire adult life, and then be strung along with the guy who he's come to kind of view as perhaps an anti-hero or a villain. His whole relationship with Armand. And I'm just, why the fuck is he doing this with Lestat? something that keeps circling back in my mind. Why the fuck is he doing this with Lestat? Like, he really has to be Castaway, Wilson, just out in the seas, life of Pi, baby, with no one else, and just cling on to something to maybe divine some sort of meaning or figure out what the fuck he's supposed to do with his eternal life now.
I mean, I'm sure he was in the situation to where he's thinking, I was staring down the barrel of my own mortality, and now I'm not. Now I have life immortal, and what do I do with this life immortal? So what do you do when you don't know what to do? You default to instinct. And for Daniel, what is his instinct? He's a bright young reporter with a point of view. That's what carried him through his life, and that's what'll carry him through his afterlife. I'm thinking he can't deny a good story. And I imagine hearing Lestat say, hey, do you want to hear my side of this all? Similarly with Louis, like, he gets the package in the mail. He knows that he shouldn't go, and yet he can't not. Dog in the car. He's got to chase after it. I don't think he's getting a lot of direction from Louis, and I think he's probably trying to avoid Armand. So what other vampire does he know that's around? Who maybe he could divine some other wisdom? Who has been told to him to be the best vampire at being a vampire? So why not hitch our wagon to this Lestat guy and see if we can figure out some purpose through it all?
But it's what's on this next screen, or next frame, that really, really gets my goat. Because on the one side, it says I, and then I'm pretty sure it says was here on the left-hand side. And I could be wrong, because I can't quite figure out what it says on the right-hand side. But to me, it looks like kisses. XXXX. Which, I was here, kisses, XXXXX. Guys, do Lestat and Daniel kiss? Even better question, guys, do Lestat and Daniel fuck? No. Right? No. Maybe. No. What? Ah! But what better way to get back at Louis? To be like, oh, all right, so you want to tell this guy all these funny little stories? Well, how about I tell him a few stories of my own and then give him a few stories to tell you in return. How do you like them apples? Huh, hon? Huh? 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 You gonna go bake a pie with them? Huh? You gonna have a nice little crumble on top? Huh? But even more so, oh my God, what would Armand think about that? Ooh! Speaking of, we got a few more frames. Little vampire face. We have a little grave. It says R.I.P. and an upside down cross. And then some crosses off to the side and a little X. Does that stand for someone who died on the tour? Passing along in the skyline? That's their little grave. Sorry guys, R.I.P. Or is that just a general rest in peace for all the people who have come to know Lestat and not make it to the end of their own story? Well, I guess do make it to the end of their own story because they died. Next up. Ow! Certified freak alert. Hello, police. We've got a gremlin on the loose, and I fear he might be trying to devil a certain minion. Oh my God, the sunglasses. Like maker, like makey. Am I right, guys? They match. But I get another scrawled message, which I feel like maybe this one is wrong because I can't quite see it. But it looks to me like rock, which sure makes sense in the context of the show. Why it's over Armand's face, not totally sure. But again, it could be a different word. But more importantly is what's on the next frame, which is a little drawn on middle finger. Fuck Lestat, but also fuck Armand. It's so important to get that in there. Next frame. You think you're clever. Pointing to the person smoking. Who could that person be? Is it us? And then a little vampire face. Ha ha ha. Ho ho ho. Which That feels like a direct call out. And the next frame says sub, which feels like even more of a call out. I get it. All right. I know what I am. You don't have to say it. But the next frame is the word liminal. So subliminal messaging, which subliminal messaging and rock and roll go hand in hand. I mean, from playing records backwards to divine lyrics hailing Satan on Led Zeppelin, the Abbey Road, you know, the secret messages that Paul is dead. Subliminal messaging has always been kind of tied to rock and roll and this satanic panic that rock and roll stars are actually trying to use subliminal messaging to convert the unsuspecting teens and young adults and listeners of the music into devil-worshipping hedonists who do not follow the ways of our one true Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. It's a fun little kind of nod to all of that. But also, I am kind of curious, with this being, like I said, this feels almost like a journal or a scrapbook of sorts. So the "you think you're so clever, ha 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 ho ho," is that in reference to us? Like, is that message meant for us, the audience? We think we're so clever? Or is this kind of like Lestat speaking to himself, almost like the subconscious rising? And again, how the past is coming back. You think you're so clever. You think you can project this idea of who you are. You think you can run away from all of this. No.
We're coming for you.
Or maybe it could be both. But gosh, I just love these secret little messages. Oh, it's like a puzzle. Cut to Mother. Oh. With, is that Larry? Larry playing guitar? Maybe. We got Gabriella looming over the screen, gazing at us with the word mother scrawled next to her eye. And then next, we have a frame that says cop. And then you late. Mother copulate. Translation, motherfucker. Who do we know who might be a quite literal motherfucker? Certain blonde-haired vampire named Lestat, maybe? Hinting towards this incestuous relationship that I'm fascinated to see just how deep we go into it. Because once again, Gabriella, why is she popping up now? Especially, we know she pops up at the beginning of the season because they'd already filmed stuff for San Diego Comic-Con with her by the time, like a month in, when they were filming earlier episodes. So she's popping in pretty quickly on. Why? Is it just because Lestat is doing something so brazen that it demands her attention finally? Which I do think that splitting the word up copulate and having late over her face as another kind of message of, yeah, she is very late. Why are you showing up now after everything that he's been through? Like, you couldn't have shown up any earlier. You've abandoned him and you're coming back now? A little late, don't you think? It's been a minute, mommy. Is she trying to discourage him from doing this tour? Or is she going to say, hey, I read this book and I want to know your perspective and maybe I'll hang around a little bit, only to leave him again? I'm sure. There is another little scrawled message. I can't tell. No, I think it says POV. Yeah, I think it says POV, which, I mean, again, very important to this show in particular, because point of view, who's telling the story, changes everything, right?
Upon reflection, I think it says pop, which would make sense. If we had rock earlier, now pop. Where are the blues?
Next frame. Oh my god. Fuck me up. Oh god. I really hope my new apartment has good soundproofing, because, girl, There's going to be a lot of hooping and hollering and screaming and scrawling whenever this season comes out. Oh my gosh, it's constant motion. Him falling into the crowd, swirling, turning, melting in the next frame, constantly shifting and changing, just like Lestat. Again, we have this fire in the middle of the crowd that just feels like foreshadowing, right? Next frame. Wiener! Yes, wiener! Woo! Wiener! You know who else just so happens to have hot dog art within their living space? Boom! Yeah! Yeah! Gumball machine. Very important. Gotta keep that mouth engaged. Oral fixation, am I right? Who has one of those? This upside down fish? Is this a big mouth Billy?
Don't worry. Be happy.
Doesn't look like a big mouth Billy traditionally does, but I'm sure for copyright reasons. It couldn't. So the question on everybody's mind is, we know that this fish can sing, but can this fish sing? All right. Okay, guys, I gotta get a little tinfoil hat again. Because, do you see what is in the left-hand corner over there? Do you see it? Let's zoom in. Okay. It appears to be a blue horse with glowing red eyes. Do you guys know where else famously sports a 32-foot tall, veiny blue Mustang with glowing red eyes named Blucifer? Denver! DIA, baby! R.I.P. Luis Jimenez. He was the creator of Blucifer. That's not his real name. I can't think of his real name, but everyone knows him as Blucifer because he is a devil horse, because he killed Louis. He killed his maker. His leg fell on top of him and it crushed him to death. This Mustang has a body count, and not the fun kind. Okay? Creation. Killing the maker. Magnus throwing himself to the flames, giving his life over to Lestat so that he can carry on his vampiric lineage. Claudia, then, in turn, many years later, coming back to kill her own creator, her own father. Interesting. Does Lestat have an emotional and spiritual connection with Blucifer when he stops in Denver on their tour? Because that does happen. It's on the shirt. They come to Denver, baby. They come to Denver, they come see me, and I see them, and I'm on the tour bus, and I live here. This is the tour bus, and I live here now. That's actually where I'm moving. That's my next apartment. Am I crazy? Where else? Why else would they have a blue Mustang? A blue Mustang with glowing red eyes? That's Blucifer. That's Blucifer. That's the only context that makes sense. I'm in the show. That's me. All right, cool it down. Okay, but then we have this very interesting map. It says map of the district administration of Mährish-Ostrau. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that horribly wrong.
I did, because I got the whole friggin' word wrong. I thought it said Mahr-Ostran. No. The first word is abbreviated, but this city on this map is Mährish-Ostrau, which is modern-day Ostrava in the Czech Republic, which I had this whole spiel about. I couldn't find a damn thing on Google about Mährish-Ostrau. No, I couldn't, because it don't exist. And now, I also tried to Google translate the rest of what this says under all that. And girlies, I don't think I came up with anything that's correct. But here, there was something interesting, at least, from this potentially false translation. So it, to me, appears to read The Student's Hand, designed by Burger School Director and Primary School Teacher. Which that one, maybe we're like missing some things in translation. However, it's The Student's Hand that piques interest. Because once again, I have a reference to hands and a teacher. I'm getting breadcrumbs. I don't have a loaf yet, but I've got the crumbs. So that paired with the next thing that we see on this map is Prussian Silesia, which Silesia wasn't under Prussian rule until 1742. However, it didn't become like an official part of Prussia, like an officially recognized region, or not region, but I guess just district, I don't know, of Prussia until 1815. So, just thinking about timelines here.
Around that time, I would think by 1815, Lestat would probably be in the ground already, right? Because doesn't he sleeps for 100 years before resurfacing and making his way to New Orleans within the show's storyline. But the teacher and the hand kind of makes me think Marius. So I almost wonder if on Lestat's journey to find Marius, instead of going to Greece, maybe they stay within continental Europe and head more towards the Eastern European home of the vampires, which, you know, we kind of saw with Claudia and Louis. I feel like that would be easier to replicate that kind of environment and that climate in Canada, in Toronto. Much easier to replicate visually versus trying to replicate a Grecian island cliffside abode. So maybe we're shifting there, or maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree. Who knows? But yeah, we got that, whatever that means. Cut to the fangs. Fuck me. Ah! We got the close-up on the fangs. We got this little cartoon of old school Dracula, the bat, the vampire bat. We've got Nosferatu, the famous silhouette of him coming up the stairs, and then his face. What did I tell you guys last video? Forget aura farming, guys. This man, he's Orlok farming. I'm so on it. Giving cute little devil horns to Count Orlok. Although, to be fair, they look more like cat ears. All right, little kitty cat ears. Which, turn around, baby. Is there a tail on the backside? This is where we find out that Lestat is not only a motherfucker, he's a furry. Honestly, though, whenever any of them show their fangs, that's all I see. Angry little kitty cat. Angry kitty cat. So even if these are cat ears, it works for me. I'm like, yeah, that's what you guys are. This old 80s VHS of a vampire, this poster, very reminiscent of the Edward Cullen Twilight poster, with the abs drawn on, the little heart, the X's over the eyes. Did Lestat read Twilight? He totally did. The little fangs too. Do you think he read it and he was like, oh, this Edward is just like my Louis. I am Team Edward. Cut to this 2000s SFX shot. Vampire biting into this other guy's throat. It's giving Queen of the Damned. It's giving Underworld. It's giving Blade. And then this carriage with two coffins on top making its way through the woods. Could it be Gabriella and Lestat on their adventures before ultimately Mommy and Son split? Fishnet legs on the floor. Carol Papong? Is that you? Are we gonna see it? Are we gonna see it? I need to see the ping pong ball. We have another shot of Les Jesus. You see it, right? All the hands reaching towards him. Normally it's Jesus laying his hands on everyone else, but now it's everyone else laying their hands on him. You need not wait for him to touch you. You can touch him. That's the power of Lestat. Okay, you can invite him into your life. Traveling inward, and then X over the lungs. Lungs that seem to be tied back. What can that mean? Keep him from screaming, keep him from talking, although he loves to talk. Or do I just not know human anatomy that well? Is this what lungs look like? Surely not. What are these lines on the lungs? They look bound, but the secret message is just that. It says, this is a secret message. The heart? His beating, pounding heart? The bound lungs? Which is it? Okay, well, sorry about that. Will I ever go through a video without technical difficulties? I don't think it'll happen. I thought my monitor died. Turns out it was my camera. Cut to Mr. Mohawk here, with Lestat shaped into the side of his head. Guys, who's taking the leap? I'm not. Next shot, X is on the Toronto Space Needle. It blowing up. Vampire terrorism. No. Again, is that foreshadowing? Is this something that's going to happen? Or is this just, I don't know, us goofing around? Clown. 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 This is my clown prince, all right? Suck it, Joker. Fully a boo. You cannot compete. He is the clown. He is the jester. He is the harlequin. He's there to entertain. He's there to inspire love. He's there to get you on your feet, make you laugh, make you smile, make you feel everything that you need to feel. Why does this kind of look like a yearbook photo, though? Does it not? Look at that blue background. Imagine this was your teacher. You wouldn't be able to keep me out of detention. I think what's most important here, other than the clown makeup, though, is the fact that there's a single solitary tear running down the side of his face, which, girl, I know that's right. That's my Lestat. He's hooting, he's hollering, he's crying, he's wallowing, he's doing whatever he wants to. That's the Lestat I know. Yes! Cute little vampire faces. Cute little vampire faces with this stripper heel, with this skull face on them. Baller. Baller. Step on me with these. First step, these shoes. Next step, hate me boots. But then we go further into the mouth of the Sarlacc to see kind of stone statue woman on a table. Guys, is this our first glimpse of mother of all vampires, Vampire Queen Akasha? We go from that to ice cream scoops across the screen. That I just don't have a goddamn clue about. I really don't. The only thing I can think, big old heroin spoon. But why would you need an ice cream scoop? Just use a spoon. I don't know. I did look up, can you use an ice cream scoop as a heroin spoon? Like if that was just something that users did, and immediately Google was like, here's an addiction hotline, which is kind, thoughtful, thank you. But it was just for research, I promise. I'm not intending on putting that into practice, Google, just so that's out there. Okay, again, yes, the shot of the bloodied legs in the bathtub. Again, I'm kind of thinking maybe something to do with the whole midnight abortion thing. The shot of the Corvallis, Oregon coroner's report, a 53-year-old man, multiple puncture wounds across the neck and throat. Come on, Autumn. Corvallis, Oregon, and the Willamette County, home to wonderful white wines, especially a delicious Viognier. Guys, go check it out. And then we have the piece de resistance, the bloody urinal. The bloody urinal. Just for me. They did this just for me. I feel it in my bones. Explosive blood. Right on the wall. I mean, damn, that is coming out like a jet stream. You need to get that checked out. Girl, if you're peeing that hard, I mean, just imagine. I'm just saying, I worry for the recipient of this forceful of release. You know? That's all I'm saying. Louis, are you okay? Honestly, this is my Notre Dame. This is what I will pray to every single day. The bloody urinal. Do you know how many times a day people ask me, what does your bracelet say? And I get to look them in the eye and I say, it says blood piss. And they say, I'll take the check. But it's what's on the walls as well that really just amps this up. Obviously, we have all these different posters for Lestat, the graffiti, different fonts, which we see at the very end. It almost feels representative of all the different faces of Lestat, all the different elements within him. But most importantly, we have this Afterlife Interview with the Vampire cover off to the side, which was, I think, the placeholder poster for the first season, the pilot season or pilot episode of Interview with the Vampire. So we got Louis here represented with a little heart drawn next to him. Yup, I know that's right. Cut to the bowling ball. Guys, What is up with bowling? I can't wait once this season is over for Eric Bogosian to claim the world championship of bowling. I think he can do it. I think he has the power within himself, and we'll all turn out and support, right? And then Lestat, in the throes of musical bliss and expression, floating up as whose face comes superimposed, looming over him, looming over everything in his life, looming over this presence in his music. It's the one, the only, Louis de Pointe-du-Lac. Everybody cheered. Everybody dabbed their eyes and stifled their cries as they cheered. Once again, little devil horns or cat ears, whichever way you choose to interpret them, drawn over Lestat, and then a halo next, showing the different sides of him. But the fire gift Louis, fire in the eyes. Forget my purple eyes of God. My eyes of God really are emerald green and burning with a rage that can't be quenched. It's Louis de Pointe-du-Lac, everybody. Burning, burn the ground. They burn for each other. Oh my God. Back to the bowling. Lestat's severed head in neon. Any neon artist out there? I know this is a very niche thing, but if any of you are out there, how much would it cost to recreate this?
Shit you not, like 4 days after filming this, a guy came into the winery who is a neon artist as a hobby. So if anyone has a grand lying around that they would like to donate to the Severed Head Fund, hit me up.
Is Daniel angry with Lestat, bowling down his pins, bowling down this wall that he has formed between himself and the abyss beyond? Wait, between Daniel and the abyss beyond. Then we have this burning room with all these lamps and someone burning in the middle. I think it's Claudia, just because, everything's yellow, and given the fire, that's how she essentially went out of the world, but also how she came to be in Louis and Lestat's life. It was a fire that brought her to them, and ultimately, not quite fire, but burning in the sun that took her away from them as well. And it's kind of like this ghostly specter in the middle of the room, kind of rising from the floor to come up, rising from the depths. Why all the lamps? I don't know. It kind of, maybe because, within a documentary or within filming, you try to use, what's the word for it? The light that's actually within the scene. You use a lot of lamps to make it seem like that's where the light's coming from. But then in the middle of all of this, here comes the ghost of the past, Claudia burning up. Or it could also be representative of, again, Mother Vampire Akasha. She likes her fire. Either way, I think it's Claudia. But we have this close-up here where it does kind of look like stone or plaster, which makes me think Akasha. Back again with the figure that we saw on the table. However, the clothes don't seem appropriate for Akasha, but again, it's hard to see what the clothes look like because it's all like contrasted, colored out, super stylized. So maybe the kind of plastery stone that I'm getting could also be like a burned flesh. We've got 3 chairs. In the middle, this fire circle, almost like a summoning circle, and the room is spinning. So for me, I'm kind of thinking, going back to Claudia, just because of this image here, because I'm thinking 3 chairs, Louis, Claudia, Lestat, the unholy family. And again, with what they've talked about with Louis's journey being very heartbreaking, and the allusions to, you can put the dress on the wall, you can have the portrait on the wall, but that doesn't mean that he's really made steps to rectify everything that's happened with Claudia and Paul and his family in his life. And that's going to come back and haunt him and follow him. I think Hannah said on the New York Comic Con panel that they were pulling references and inspiration from Merrick, in which Louis goes on this whole journey to try to commune with Ghost Claudia when he finds out that after reading the previous books that Lestat published and reading about Lestat being haunted by Claudia and Jesse Reeves in Queen of the Damned, Also similarly being haunted by Claudia when she goes to visit 1132 Rue Royale. He's like, I want to see Claudia again. And he reaches out to a witch named Merrick to do exactly that. So I'm thinking maybe this is in reference to that, but what do I know? I just work here. Once again, we are back to this table. Again, we've got, it looks like a little girl portrait here to the right. Could that be Gabriella? Could that be one of the lost siblings? The excessive grandeur of it all does make me feel like it is a set versus something from his past, but maybe not. And then it cuts to like this grimmed out, slashed paintings. Reminds me of Beauty and the Beast, this bloody table with these guts everywhere. What the fuck is on the table? Is that a chimp? A chimp face? But the only painting that remains intact is this little painting of the little boy off to the left. So once again, it makes me think that maybe this is a painting of baby Lestat. This idea of like that inner child and like the trauma of childhood and the things that you experience then you carry with you. So everything else is slashed and bloodied and gore and horror, and overlooking it all is baby Lestat. Perhaps, or maybe it's someone else. And then the table in the woods, the Devil's Road, the witch's place. Perhaps it's the decaying feast in the haunted recesses of one's mind. Perhaps things go blue, the fog rolls in, the silhouetted figure of Lestat in the distance, looking over his shoulder, racing towards him while he's performing, almost like this memory is racing after him. And then boom! Crash! Wrecking ball through the middle of the table. Little explosions drawn on. Is this his past coming after him, wrecking its way into him? Or is this wrecking ball Lestat coming down and saying, stop it! No, I'm halting your progress. Are the memories crushing him? Or is he crushing them? Or is Lestat just a big fan of 2014 era Miley Cyrus? Who knows? Again, the image of Lestat on stage. We zoom towards him and cut to the Vampire Lestat. Once again, we have this image of Lestat with his chest like ripped open for all to see, open for anyone to reach in and grab and take away what's inside. He's an open book, but the book is filled with hieroglyphs that we don't have a Rosetta Zone for. Rosetta Zone? Rosetta Stone, baby! How do we decipher all the muddled meanings within there? Can he decipher the meaning? The Space Needle once again. Chest, the shirt, finally wearing a shirt. The gold, the glitter, him looking down. Oh my god! All the different fonts, the tattoo. It feels like all of the different mercurial sides of Lestat showing off. You can't define him down to one letter face or one genre or one state of being. He is all-encompassing. He is everything. He is first and last. He is the Vampire Lestat. And with that, guys, I think we rattled on long enough here. I gotta go eat. But let me know in the comments what you think some of these tortured little meanings might mean to you, and what you're most looking forward to as we go into this next season, and what you're most looking forward to as I go into my next season of life in my new apartment. What do we think? Skinless chimp head on the wall? Blood and guts all over the floor? Good decor? Good decor? Yeah. Well, thanks for hanging out. We'll catch you next time.
I'm a little killer. I'm a lonely one. I'm the chick creeping up your spine, telling you to run. I'm a limoncello. I'm the last life. I'm the past and the future, the last of the sutures.